Welcome into Steelers Now postgame. I am Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders. Man, did that feel good to say, Steelers Now postgame. Yes, it is in a preseason capacity, but we are back with postgame shows. Alan, how we doing?
I'm doing great. I mean,
You got to see some. Go ahead.
it was like real football for like 5 minutes, and then we and some other stuff. But it was really good to get back in the press box, covering the game, dusted
Yeah.
off the old binoculars, took some attendance, do the
Mm.
reporter jobs that I haven't done in quite some time, and man, I think a overall fairly impressive performance from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Uh, not perfect, but
Sure.
not too much to feel too upset about. And big, most importantly, most everybody walking out of here healthy.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. That's the big thing for me, honestly. Like, you asked for top takeaways or something like that, that would be at the top of my list. Before we get too many people in here and asking questions actually about the game, I actually just wanted to ask about like how that venue and compares to other ones that you've been in, because I don't think it's going to be very. Go ahead.
No, it's not great. So I get my
Yeah.
seat in the press box. To my left is Chris Halleck of DK Pittsburgh Sports. On either side of him are buckets catching rain dripping from the ceiling. So yeah, not not ideal. They're doing a lot of construction to get ready for their new stadium, which is coming in 2028. So to get to the locker room, they actually had to leave the building and walk around the outside of the building to get in. Nobody cares about my job, but this stadium is it's
Yeah.
overdue for its replacement, and they're going to play another year here with the construction going on, which seems crazy because there's already a lot of construction happening around here.
Too many dollars going to the to all elite wrestling is what I'm hearing from the Jacksonville Jaguars ownership.
I don't know. They're getting their billion. It's a very expensive renovation.
No, I
So
know.
there's some
I'm
money
just
coming
staying
in
with
here.
right now with what's going on. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we actually got a lot of people here. Yeah, John even had to mention the AEW stuff. Fatanu double stunt said play the game for him was Peyton Wilson and Liao cosplaying as the Shield. Yeah, Peyton Wilson very noticeable in that first drive. We saw him literally pick somebody up. I will say, just like, man, it kind of coincides with what I saw the one day I was there at train camp and what other people have talked about, where I don't know how it's going to translate onto the field, but Peyton Wilson just seems to be like way more vocal, way more comfortable with himself, like him as a person. He just seems to be like a different version of himself almost just 1 year into this thing.
It was really coming out of his shell in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
He's kind of
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
he's kind of a little bit of a quiet guy, I think, by nature. But I think you're really seeing the personality that was such a leader at NC State come out. We made a big deal about him wearing the green dot, and then he was out there for like 9 plays or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's a lot of growth happening. Like when Mike Tomlin talks about year one to year two, he's not talking about like a guy showing up like 20 pounds heavier or getting a lot faster or stronger or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like this is exactly what he's talking about. A guy who was like a rookie that showed some promise, but also like just kind of ran around a little bit, was unsure of himself, wasn't always in the right place at the right time. Now comes up like, I know what to do. I can do this. I'm going to show everyone I can do this. Like that's exactly what he's talking about when he talks about those year two jumps. I think we're ready to see one from Peyton Wilson. And the suplex, look, I mean, he's just auditioning for a future career if he wants to. I know he wrestled in high school, so I mean,
In front of Tony Khan.
I know, right? I mean,
Right.
he's got a long football career ahead of him, I think. But if it's someday
Yeah.
he wants to get back on the mat, I think he can do it.
You talked about a year 2 leap there. A year 3 leap that we certainly need to see take place is from Broderick Jones. Mike said really happy with the first team offensive line, with how the offensive line played. Broderick was completely fine. I like the fact that completely fine is honestly like a step in the right direction here. What we're looking for. What did you see from Broderick today? Honestly, let's just talk about the whole offensive line. I think that first group.
Yeah, the first team offensive line I thought looked really good in pass protection. The one sack, I mean, Rudolph just held on to the ball forever. Technically, it's
Yeah.
Broderick Jones' guy, but come on.
Mm-hmm.
It was, we'll call that a coverage sack and then some. I thought they really did a nice job in the screen game. That's not something they've been good at. In fact, it's been kind of a struggle at training camp. I was really surprised by how good they look in the screen game. I do not think the run blocking went very well in general. The first team didn't do a lot of it, so maybe some TBD there. But the second team run blocking did not go well at all, and Caleb Johnson didn't have a lot
Yeah,
of
I
room to
thought
run. I didn't think he looked great. I think if you're talking about like big picture, like sort of, I don't want to say disappointments, but like some areas
sure.
where they need to improve. The run
Hmm.
game, Caleb Johnson specifically with that second team offensive line, I think probably you're looking at an area where like they can be better.
Yeah.
Caleb said as much after the game. He said like I was trying to get my feet wet, like speed of a new level, and that's something I can build off. So nothing to be really concerned about. It's just like if you're looking for an area that they're probably going to look for some improvement going into the second week of preseason. I think the running game in general is one of them.
Yeah, I thought, I don't want to single anybody out, but I will. I thought Doug Nestor was pretty bad
Yeah,
tonight.
there are
And
very
I will
few
say too.
guys
Go ahead.
that like I had like generally when I'm taking notes during the game, I just make
Mhm.
like pluses and minuses. There were very few guys that came out like way on the minus side, and I think Doug Nestor was one of them. Had a couple plays where he got blown up, took a penalty. I didn't think he had a very good game.
Yeah.
In an opportunity because he got elevated to the second team as sort of the trickle down from Calvin Anderson being out and Spencer Anderson being up for Isaac Seumalo, and I don't think he necessarily took the best advantage of that opportunity.
I will say too, is something that I noticed and somebody that I grew more of an appreciation for by him not being out there was Ryan McCollum. Max Sharp been really struggling with a lot of snaps in this game. And we've talked about how McCollum was a guy we weren't thinking about much of last year, had to play because of the injury to Zach Frazier, certainly held his own to the point where this year he's like very clearly the number 2 center is going to be on this roster. And by not being a part of the equation tonight, I think showed his worth with him not being out there.
Yeah, yeah, I thought so too. I thought the second team offensive line really missed him and Spencer Anderson, and Calvin Anderson, who's been pretty good too. I
Yeah.
thought Dylan Cook looked
Yeah.
good. I thought he had a good game. Um, so we'll see. I mean, I think all offensive lines to some level are still a work in progress at this point in the season, and I'm honestly far more encouraged by the pass protection success than I am discouraged by the run game lack of success because I know they're
Mm,
good run blockers. We've seen them do it. Like the pass
yeah.
protection is the much bigger picture question mark. So I think there's a lot to like there.
We don't have to spend too much time on this, but I've seen multiple people mention it. You were in the stadium for a 70-yard field goal. What in the world was like even the reaction to that?
I've never seen anyone celebrate like the whole Jaguars team just erupted. I'm like and
Yeah.
like obviously like so deservingly so. He was probably good from 75 too. Like it wasn't even close. I knew it was
Mhm.
good as soon as he hit it. Like it was nailed. Um, Crazy. Never seen anything like that. Probably never will again. What a player! He had 4 for 4. He had a 52-yarder that was like nothing. Um,
Yeah, he's good.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Uh, Nuts that Liam Cohen even tried it. To be honest, like to call the timeout with 1 second left to go run your like I don't know how many coaches are trying to call a timeout with 1 second left in the half to go try a 70-yard field goal. So
Yeah.
credit to him for believing in his guy and knowing he can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool moment for them. And sometimes there's these are very structured and sometimes not so much. I'm just going based off the comments of what people want to talk about. So if you want to talk about something, throw it in there. If you have a question, throw it in there. Juan wants to talk about Brandon Eccles. Said Eccles was pretty good too, he thought. This is a guy that we've been talking about quite a bit through training camp. We talked about the defensive backs. Maybe he was getting lost in the shuffle there because of all the big splash, big name additions. But I came away very impressed the night that I was there. You've talked about him quite a bit and just the depth that there is at cornerback, and I thought he had to put it on display tonight in a game setting.
I don't really want to say he got lost in the shuffle because honestly, like he wasn't that great when he played for the New York Jets. So like I think it was an under the radar signing because of the result. Like I think that was a fair reaction. But man, does he look good. Um, he just plays really hard. He's really fast. Um, I think this scheme is a good fit for him. I, I thought they were going to use him in the slot. He's just been really good outside. There's
Mhm.
no reason to move him. I'm sure he can do it, but like He's the fourth outside corner. To me, there's
Oh
no
yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
battle's already won. I don't think he could be passed at this point unless he gets hurt. What happens beyond that? Corey Trice, James Pierre, Beanie Bishop. I don't know, but Brandon Eccles. I mean, he had a 2-year deal, so he was on the team no matter what, and he has a special teams role. But like, he's the next guy after
Yeah.
the big three at cornerback for sure.
Yeah, I was just say they could have brought him in for a 1-year deal for the vet min. If he played like this, he would have been on the roster. So, the 2-year deal obviously certainly made it where we thought he was going to be stamped on there, but the way that he's played is obviously warranted beyond the
And
contract.
not just him either, man. Juan Thornhill was really good. Had a
Mhm.
absolutely textbook pass breakup over the middle against Brian Thomas. Drilled him right in the ribs. Like they do this. Like the NFL has this like right way to play award where like they give it to a defensive back or a defensive player who makes like a big hit but does it in a safe way that protects the opponent. You should win it if they give it out in the preseason. Although I don't know about like I'm sure Brian Thomas is like, yeah, my ribs really thank you for that hit because he drilled him. But like that's exactly how you have to do it. Like that's the legal way to do it. And
Mhm.
how many passes today were broken up that were in the hands of a defender and knocked loose by a big hit? Half a
Yeah.
dozen. Like it,
Yeah.
like that's a whole secondary that's feeling itself without its four best players.
Yeah.
I thought Chuck Clark was really good. Oh, there's a run
Mm.
play in the first half where like somebody has the running back. I think it was Bigsby by the ankles, and just go watch that hit by Chuck Clark. It's like a 3-inch punch. Like it doesn't look like anything, and then you just see the guy go flying, down into the turf, and it's like he hits like a Pittsburgh Steeler. There's
Yeah.
no question about that. I don't know if like something happens to Thornhill if he's going to go be able to like cover a whole bunch of range and in too high in center field and things like that. But he can play. The Steelers secondary looking that good without Ramsey, Slay, and Porter compared to what we've seen over the years is just sort of and Trice and Kent. They're missing 5 corners, like,
Mhm.
and they still
Yeah.
played that well. I don't know how many yards they
Yeah.
gave up. Not very many. Um, Very impressive.
Yeah, if you remember going back to when we did our episode on Wednesday and we were starting to talk about guys to watch for and stuff like that. I don't know if somebody's going to bring it up in the comments here. Maybe somebody did because I don't see all of them quite yet if I scroll down. There's 2 names that I mentioned later on if you want to watch. Cameron McCutcheon had an interception that was brought back by an Isaiah Loudermilk, uh, roughing the passer, and Keyshawn actually caught a touchdown. So all I'm saying is if you want to give me my flowers, I will absolutely take them in the comments. Thank you very much. Speaking of, go ahead. Looks like you're about to
Yeah,
say
I
something.
want to talk about the wide receivers a lot. The Cam
Okay.
McCutcheon
Yeah.
interception probably doesn't happen if was that Mullins gets drilled. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
kind of whatever. But the wide receivers, we got to talk about them.
Yeah. Well, okay. I understand what you're saying, but for my perspective to push my narrative, I needed that one and it ended up not counting. Before we talk about the receivers, though, and maybe a receiver can fall into this category, maybe not. I don't know. But Ken wanted to ask, who do you think helped hit their stock tonight to get on the 53 man?
Skylar Thompson. Not that like I think
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
he's really. I don't expect that to happen, but like if Will Howard isn't ready to go, I think they will put Skylar Thompson on the 53 and not think twice about it. And I'm not sure that was the case before this game.
Does there have to
All
be some question of mine though? Like if you don't see Howard at all in the preseason, which is obviously a very plausible scenario, that you feel like you got to keep Thompson as the third instead of Howard because you at
No,
least
because I think you can get Thompson to the practice squad.
okay.
And I don't think you can get Howard to the practice squad.
Yeah.
So I think you cut Skylar Thompson, roll the dice, then nobody picks him up, put him on the practice squad, and then he can be, depth from there. If
Yeah.
something actually happens to one of your starters, you just bring him back, and then you put Will Howard on the roster and redshirt him, which was always the plan. Other guys who I think improved their stock for the 53 man. All 3 undrafted wide receivers, Harleman Williams and Rock Taylor, I thought all were very good, especially Keyshawn Williams. I think some other guys on the bubble. I thought Mark Robinson looked pretty good, but I thought Carson Bruner was also good. He made some plays in special teams. I think that's going to be an interesting battle for a 53-man spot. Probably only one of those guys can make it. Cole Holcomb, we've talked a little bit about, like, is
Yeah.
not necessarily a lock to make this team. I thought he looked awesome. I have
Made a
hard
really nice
time
play in space. I mean, he was covering Tank Bigsby in space. I mean, that's
I
yeah.
have a really hard time seeing him get cut. That's probably the guys that on the bubble I thought were the most interesting. I'm trying to rack my brain to see if there's somebody else down there. I thought DeMarvin Leal looked okay. He was better than Jack Sawyer in this game for me.
Okay.
I don't think there's any world in which they cut Jack Sawyer, so I don't know how much that means.
Right.
Really, he's competing against like keeping an extra player at a different position, right? So it's not really like 1-to-1, but I did think he was better than Sawyer. I thought in general the rookie draft picks did not look great. I didn't think Sawyer was very good. I didn't think Caleb Johnson was particularly good. I didn't think Derek Harmon made the kind of impact I've been seeing him make in training camp. It's our first game. I don't really put almost any stock in that. I'm not super concerned about it. If it becomes a trend, maybe it's something to be worried about in 2 or 3 weeks. But
Yeah.
but I didn't think, like, compared to maybe the way I've seen them play in training camp, any of those guys were really Wyatt Black. You can put in that group too. I don't think any of those guys were as good as I've seen them be so far.
Well, maybe we can dive more into that. I'm sure the comments might have some questions here. I'm still scrolling down, trying to catch up. But Michael, with my favorite comment so far, give it a like. It's easy and it helps. That's absolutely correct. If you haven't yet, be sure to like the stream. Also subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. Completely free. Best way to support us. Mentioned the defensive back group. Sid wanted to know your thoughts on Beanie in this game.
Yeah, we talked about Doug Nestor having a rough game. I thought Beanie was probably the other guy I had in that column. I got blown up on the first play, the fourth down on the first drive. Could have had a tackle and got off the field. Got beat a couple times in coverage. I give him some credit for like keeping his head down and making some plays after getting beat, but I don't
Yeah, that
know.
one pass breakup does not happen if that is not significantly
Well, it
underthrown.
should have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
and like I don't know really how like the bottom of the cornerback group is going to shake out. I think it's still very much up in the air, but I don't think Beanie's secured a spot right now by any stretch. And like I don't think he helped himself much tonight.
2 seasons in a row where the starting slot corner at OTAs is not even on the roster when they break
plausible, man. It's plausible.
Yeah.
Although I have a hard time, like Dante Kent, I have a hard time seeing him make the team. He's not practicing his 7th-round pick. He was kind of like a shot in the dark as a 7th-round pick in the first place. And I don't know. Eccles hasn't played any slot. We haven't. Corey Trice isn't practicing. Who's the backup slot if not Beanie Bishop? So like, I think he's like in the roster math. I think he's in good position, but I think he's probably got to play a little bit better to make him feel good about that choice than he did tonight.
Juan with a thought here on the cornerback room. Leave Kyler McMichael in Jacksonville. Did he have a negative on here's a couple missed tackles in the second half for sure?
Yeah, man, they won this game, guys, right? Like, we can talk about the good things. But no, Kyler McMichael did not have a good game.
Yeah. Saunders said he was hoping for a few more reps from J.J. Galbraith.
Yeah, I was a little surprised because they're thin at tight end, right? No Pat, no Jonnu. Connor Hayward got a lot of run. I thought it was okay. He was open. Skylar Thompson missed him on it, but he made a really nice contested catch, which he needs to do because he doesn't necessarily create like he's a good route runner, but against man coverage, he doesn't necessarily always create a ton of separation. He made a really nice contested catch. I thought Connor was pretty good. I don't think he's in any danger of being cut, but I thought he was pretty good. But yeah, I kind of expected like Darnell and Connor would leave when Mason did, and then would see nothing but J.J. Galbraith the rest of the way, but it didn't really play out that way. And DJ Thomas Jones not practicing. I don't know what's up with that. I know he had the was a calf or an ankle or whatever, and then he came back, and now he's out again. So something to monitor there, but they're pretty thin at tight end at the moment.
I know we already talked about offensive line here, but Norm just stepping in, and he also missed the game. So he said, how was Broderick Jones?
Pretty good. He didn't give up any quick pressures. They didn't really move the ball very well running the ball, but they were darn near perfect throwing it. So, who cares? It's
Yeah, yeah,
that's and he faced I think it was mostly Walker, but it was starters.
yeah.
It was a good test.
hmm You mentioned something earlier. I just kind of thought I saw a comment talk about how much Zach Frazier played, and Sawyer was down there to the last whistle. So I was curious, like, if you were surprised by the amount that anybody played, whether it be more or less than.
Yeah, I thought we'd see more Roman Wilson. He kind of just
Oh,
left
Mike
with the
here with the comment
starters.
about Romo, by the way, right here. Yeah,
Thought it was good when he was out there. I wanted to see more. I think given his lack of reps last year, like I think it would have been helpful for him to play more. Although I understand them wanting to get a look at the rest of their wide receivers because they are kind of interesting. But I thought more Roman would have been good. But I thought it was
they
good when he
opened
was
the
out
game
there.
up exactly how I wanted them to, though, with a Roman crosser. Like, I just thought that was the perfect way to open this game up, just to see. Like, that is exactly what
Yeah,
you're looking for from him.
yeah. And I thought Mason did a really nice job of finding open guys when he was out there. Um, he was really distributing the ball well. And but yeah, I would like to see more Roman. Anybody else that I didn't like? I was expecting to see a lot of Caleb Johnson. I was expecting to see a lot of Sawyer and Harmon, and we did. Um, yeah, I don't know if there's anybody else that like I
You know
was
who had a
really.
couple moments? Not this isn't like in regards to the playing time thing, but Lou Nichols had a couple moments
Lou Nichols
as
can
well.
play, man. He can.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can play enough special teams or do enough in the passing game to really warrant keeping him around. But if you just want to line up and hand the ball off, Lou Nichols can do that job for sure.
Yeah. Um, general question. This isn't from the YouTube comments. This is from me, but I know that I've said, like, I've asked you this question in the past, like, how are you evaluating in this setting? And I want to ask you that now on here, obviously with an audience here to kind of parlay off. Also, right now, can we get somebody to either leave or join me? Okay, there we go. We were at 666. I needed somebody to leave or join the stream. But anyway, yeah, just from how do you evaluate in this setting what you're seeing with the caveat that like everything on both sides is going to be pretty vanilla?
You just want to see clean execution. I think that's one of the bigger takeaways. Like fairly few penalties, no like substitution problems. Line up with 10 guys on the field, like just like obvious busted coverages. Like I think the Steelers win this game because they did more of the basic stuff right than the Jaguars did, and that's really what you want in a first preseason game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're evaluating guys against their priors, right? Like Broderick Jones. Yeah, they didn't run block that well. I don't care. I know he can run block. I'm impressed that he was able to deal with some pretty talented pass rushers and not really have any problem with it. Roman Wilson, like he beat press coverage like from the outside. That's really what they need him to do, but he hasn't done a lot of it. So like that's impressive to me. Um, talk about a guy like Doug Nestor in a big spot, being moved up a unit, gets an opportunity. So, I mean, I think that's what I'm looking for. It's not, certain things are hard. The run game is hard. Certain things that are very connected is hard. But, you're not seeing a lot of like blitzes. Like somebody asked Caleb Johnson post game about pass blocking. It's like, well, they rushed 4 guys like all game. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
nothing he was asked to do was particularly difficult in that area. He kind of really, can't give him a grade in that regard. But you just got to look at what you can look at.
Kevin asked if there was any special team standouts from this game. Keyshawn Williams had a punt return that got called back. Deshaun Jameson had a really nice kick return where, like, I could tell, like, if he would have cut it outside, he might have taken it to the house, and he even got up, like, saying he was like this close, like he was holding that up. But did anybody stand out in that area to you?
I thought Keyshawn had a nice punt kind of rep too, which really to me is like that's impressive for a wide receiver. I thought Carson Bruner made some nice coverage plays. Um, that's pretty much it. Ben Zolls looked good.
Yeah. I was sitting here again saying to myself, like, I just wonder, he's going to have a job somewhere, not in Jacksonville either, by the way. So it
Yeah.
could be for either
Yeah.
team.
No.
It's like
Sorry.
either team's on the field tonight, but I am curious to see how that plays out. Oh, the Rattlesnake has a list for us here of his winners: Mason Rudolph, O-line pass pro, Keyshawn Williams. Did we talk about Max at all? You might have mentioned him very briefly with the wide receiver group.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The undrafted free agent wide receivers are really good. Like, I know Rock Taylor's gotten a lot of hype, and I think it's understandable because he's sort of the type of receiver that they really need. And so, like, it's a lot easier to, like, shove Rock Taylor into a lineup and be like, this could work. All three of those guys are NFL players. Max Hurlman is just a good football player. Took a huge shot on that deep seam route.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the press box saying, I can't believe the concussion spotter let him stay in the game. And then goes and scores a touchdown in the next play. Keyshawn Williams poor number 40, who's like not even on the Jaguars flip card because he just got signed this week. Just absolutely embarrassed him. Those guys are really good. Like, for undrafted rookies, that's really, really impressive. That's probably going to be one of my lead takeaways out of this game. Is the Steelers really have something, those three guys. I don't know if any of them are going to make the team. I would probably bet not right now, but they can all play for sure.
Juan asked if he was a rookie out of Indiana.
He was a grad transfer from Wake Forest to Indiana. Played his last year at Indiana under Cignetti, Pittsburgh guy, and did really well there. And he said he had done special teams when he was a younger guy at Wake Forest, so he had some experience there.
Yeah. As we wait for more stuff to come in here, was there anything that we haven't touched on yet that you were like, I got to talk about this when we get to the post-game show that stood out?
No, I don't think so. I think there's it was really interesting to me that the first team offense came out throwing the way they did. I think that's not what I expected. Not only did I not expect it, I wouldn't have expected it to work as well as it did, even if you told me it was going to happen. So I think a passing offense without Aaron Rodgers, without DK Metcalf, without Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, Jalen Warren, that's probably their top – Calvin Austin. That's probably their top 5 receivers by targets this year, probably. DK, Pat, Jonnu, Jalen, and Calvin. I bet that's their top 5 targets. And their starting quarterback. And against the Jaguars starting defense, they threw the ball right down the field. Like, that's not what we're used to seeing. And I think the ability to run play action, utilize all fields, throws over the middle, the big dig to Roman, the third down and 11 to Keyshawn Williams, Hurlman up the seam, Washington up the seam. Every big play for this offense was up the middle.
Washington up the seam too. I think like that's honestly the way that we've talked about using him, like because it's straight line speed. If you're not asking him to turn or anything like that, like that's where his momentum gets slowed down. And like the Steelers posted a video of Darnell, and it was like he's running straight and then he turns. Like this is the official team posting it, and everybody's like, "Why aren't they using him? Why aren't they using him more?" And I just wanted to reply to everybody, be like, "You see how slow he was turning there? Like I understand that he's at the straight line speed, but do you understand? You see how long it just took him to turn? That is the perfect utilization of Darnell Washington there."
And throw the ball 7'5" in the air, where literally only a giant like him can get it. People that are covering 300-pound tight ends cannot jump like he can. It has to be put up in the air.
Was that Tyson Campbell on him there? Like a good corner. Yeah.
Tyson Campbell got roughed up by Roman Wilson and Darnell Washington. So you're having some questions about the secondary if I was covering the Jags.
Yeah, this I wonder if the postgame show might be going
I want to put this one up here. The tight who was it? Washington Vitamin Peanut Butter. Washington lost these guys without jumping. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, he got like 3 inches off the ground there to make that catch. Somebody asked, I saw about Robert Woods. I mean, you talked about obviously the receivers at the bottom of the depth chart, and his name was not brought up.
They ran a lot of cardio. He got 1 catch, maybe. I don't. I think honestly, it feels like the real reason they signed Robert Woods was to babysit George Pickens, and now that they don't need someone to do that, they're kind of wondering what to do with him. And then these young guys coming on at the bottom of the roster has, I think, put them in a fairly precarious position, especially if they're looking outside, which I think they need to be. Like, they did not still get a lot of separation on the outside for most of this game. Like, they kind of won in the middle, like I said, but like, they need an outside receiver still. If they get one, I think that's probably Robert Woods' roster spot.
Juan asked about this. I saw people talk about it on Twitter, obviously in the group message real quick. Do we have any idea what was going on with the Tomlin postgame?
Well, there's only 6 of us here. Me, Nick, Tex, DK, Jerry, and Cassidy Wood from Channel 2. And you have to pick between Tomlin and the locker room. And the Steelers stream Tomlin to the whole world. So the media outlets that don't pay to come here get our answers from Mike Tomlin for free, and they don't get our answers from the locker room. So, like, usually there's like an Associated Press reporter in there. I don't know, maybe they're not covering the preseason anymore. You go to a bigger market, I think there's usually like people who want to talk to Mike Tomlin just around, but there wasn't, and we all have our jobs to do, and none of them involve. The other thing is, like, there was nothing that happened in this game. The literal only thing that it would have asked Mike Tomlin would have been his reaction to Darnell Washington's penalty. If that was something that they had talked about, or if he was upset by, and like, I can ask him that in Pittsburgh tomorrow. I had a whole locker room of players to talk to, so it's just the job, and I don't know why more outlets don't think preseason games are worth covering, but
you know what? I didn't know the number was only going to be 6, but I knew it wouldn't be everybody that was there. That's why I was talking up when you weren't here, and I had Hunter on Thursday and DB on Friday with me on Afternoon Drive. I kept saying, like, hey, we're going to have boots on the ground for this game. Not everybody's going to have coverage there in the stadium. So,
well, it's because we got a bunch of people that subscribe to SN Plus over at Steelers Now, and that lets us go do stuff like literally that money just goes directly to stuff like this. So that's why our subscribers are so valuable to us, and they make us what we are.
But that's got to be like super expensive. It's got to be over $5, right? $5 plus a month for sure.
It's like $4.50 a month.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Well, there's that. Something that he might have been asked about. I don't know that we have any more clarity on this anyway, but I just happened to see it. 412 fan, you said, any update on Calvin Austin? Seems like he'll be wide receiver 2 this year.
He's got an injury. It doesn't seem like the expectation is that it's going to be major. I would be sort of surprised if we see him in the preseason at this point, considering he has yet to return to practice. And, the last game is 2 weeks. No, Thursday, right? So the last game is in less than 2 weeks. Would not surprise me if he misses the whole preseason, but I think he's probably on track for week 1. And, he's going to be wide receiver 2 unless they sign. I mean, honestly, even like the guys that could potentially get, I don't know if Xavier Hutchinson or, Keyshawn Boutte is moving Calvin Austin off that spot the day they walk in the door. Probably not.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Any if we have any final thoughts, go ahead and throw them in there as we kind of get to the end of it here. Alan, any final thoughts for you from Duval?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a good, like, winning in the preseason doesn't really matter, but I feel like this is a good win for the Steelers in that they played their second team mostly, and Jacksonville played their first team. And you have to remember, when you do that, it trickles down the whole rest of the game. So, like, Mason Rudolph's going against Trevor Lawrence. Then, like, the Steelers 3s are going against the Jaguars 2s. And the Steelers, like, the end of the Steelers roster is going against Jacksonville Jacksonville's second team for most of this game. And I don't think the Jaguars are like a particularly good team, but like they're probably going to be in the race for a playoff spot just because their division isn't very
In the
good.
division, yeah, sure.
And like this was kind of the game. The score looks closer than I think the game was. A lot of the time, you kick a 70-yard field goal in the last play of the first half. I don't feel like Jacksonville was ever a real threat to win this game, and Steelers kind of held them down. I thought the defense looked good. I thought the offense looked good. Running the ball better would have made it an easier win. But, like, man, there's very few negative takeaways. And we covered them all. You guys were really nitpicking. But, yeah, I mean, like, I think there's a lot to like about the way the Steelers played. I will say that, like, you got to see from the starters. That's what really matters. But I think the depth looks good.
Which Norm actually asked, do we believe that the starters will play next week?
Yes. I would expect that next week at home will be the most you see the big guns. So I think you'll probably get a driver two from, guys like Deshaun Elliott, Joey Porter, Jalen Warren, Pat Freiermuth that didn't play in this game. Will Ramsey and Watt and Hayward play? Probably not. But, I think the bulk of the starters will play, maybe aside from like 4 or 5 guys. Next week, a drive or two, maybe up to the first quarter if that drive or two doesn't go very well. Mike Tomlin's sort of notorious for not like going into the game with like a firm plan about how long he's going to keep a unit in. Just kind of like sees what he thinks they need. If the first drive is immaculate, then maybe they come out right then, So I think, but you'll see most of those guys next week at home. And then it really wouldn't surprise me if that third preseason game is pretty sparse. It's Carolina Panthers again, too. I'm excited about the renewal of the heated Week 4 preseason rivalry. Now there is no Week 4, it's in Week 3. Got to go play the Panthers. And their offense actually looked pretty good the other day. So
it did. All right, and last thing that I think that we should get out on here, the question that everybody wants to know, the battle that everybody's watching. Gina said Johnston versus Waitman battle. Anything change as of tonight?
Graham Johnson's got the job. I mean, I can't see him losing it. Corliss Waitman looks good, though. I mean, he can punt. So, and
very
also,
similarly to Ben Sauls.
Also impressively, holding the wrong way for Ben Sauls. Left-footed kicker.
Yeah.
Got to hold the other direction. And doing a really nice job of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always sort of the knock on him when he first got in the league, was he wasn't that good of a holder. Sold him for a left-footed kicker. I think he can do the job. So it would not surprise me if all 4 of the Steelers' kickers are on an NFL roster this season.
But very similarly to Sauls, I would say that Waitman probably not going to get that job in Jacksonville. He'll have to look elsewhere because Logan Cook's a pretty good one.
And Logan Cook had like a crazy tackle today also. The punters were going off, man. There's a big specialist day here for the brand. Pat McAfee, very excited.
There we go. Well, we will go out on that note. Of course, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody joining us here. This has been good getting back into the swing of this. But Alan, tell the people they can find you.
Hey, Saunders _ PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now. There's the site's account, SteelersNow.com. Go there, read the words so I can get paid. Like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel. It's easy. It's free. Helps us spread all of our shows. Steelers Afternoon Drive, Steelers Morning Rush, Sights and Sounds, Locker Room videos, all the stuff we got going on here to a bigger and bigger audience, which is, of course, what we want. So that helps us out a ton. And, that's it, man.
Normally an afternoon drive staple, but I will say we are at 16,300 and Kevin Fulsch subscribers here.
Rico Bussy.
Yeah, it's 84 for people that still might not have known based off those 2 names being the ones that were thrown out there. But anyways, appreciate all you guys for joining us for this. A lot of fun. Always love doing these. Come back. We'll have a lot more coverage, obviously, and then jumping back into the saddle Monday with a full slate of content here. But for Alan Saunders and myself, you need to find me everywhere. Zachary Smith, PGH, I guess I should say that. For Alan Saunders and myself, thanks for joining us for Steelers Now postgame show. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.